Hi everyone. Our word for the last couple of weeks has been openness, and I've always considered myself to be a very open person, except when the rubber meets the road, as I realized this week. In my study on the topic of fear, I found that the number one reason for fear is uncertainty. And we take measures in our lives to nail things down, rock solid, so we can be certain, because certainty feels so much better than fear. Except life in itself is uncertain. And the storms come, and the waves rock the boat. And we have to be open and willing to adjust our sails in order to navigate those difficult waters. Whether it's personal or professional. You know, my mom has had some health challenges recently, and for her, you know, it's hard to feel helpless and at the mercy of, will there be a hospital bed, or staying in the waiting room of the ER until 2 in the morning. For my sister, the openness to chuck her schedule on her projects and be there at the side. And me, this feeling of helplessness and not being able to know if being there would add value, or if it's better for me to just be where I am. Am I open to what life looks like when things change? I'll be honest, I don't want to be open to bad stuff. And yet we assign it as bad, when all it really is change. If we call it bad, whatever it is, and we label it that way, then that will be the reality that we live. Maybe, you know, my lease is coming up where I live, and I love where I live, but could I do better? Could I do more prudent fiscally? Do I need to be right downtown? Could I be a little bit farther out? Am I open to changing? And that's the real thing. The people that are open to change then can allow God and the universe to work in new ways. But sometimes we are holding so tightly on what is, because we fear change and uncertainty, that we don't open our hands and just say, okay, I'm open. Open doesn't mean everything has to change, but open means you're open to it. It's the opposite of closed. And it takes a lot more energy to be closed than it does to be open. I won't entertain that thought. I can't, nope. Shields up. There's a lot of energy there. So how do we become more open? I think talk therapy is a very good thing. Meaning talking it through, yes, with a licensed professional if you so choose, but with a trusted friend or partner. Sometimes I get so worked up in my head about things, and I think this is the way it has to be, and I talk it through with Mark, and he just looks at me and says, have you considered? And his response is usually far less extreme than mine, because I'm emotionally attached to it and he's not. And all of a sudden, where there was pressure and stress, there is ease and the ability to be open. Openness is saying, I'll entertain you to a new way of thinking. And maybe some things that have you completely stressed out right now could be alleviated if you just are open, and open up the conversation to somebody who's not so personally charged about it. And next thing you know, it's like, oh. I had a friend who was all stressed out because she had her first date in forever coming up, and it was dinner. And I thought, well, since I'm not emotionally attached to it, hey, you know well, why don't you just do drinks instead? That way you have an easy out if it's not going well. And the pressure she was feeling was like, oh, what? You mean I could just do drinks? You just didn't. You feel like you have to slug it out to the end, and things are flexible. Life is flexible. Plans can be adjusted to where you feel comfortable if you're open to hearing about a different way. So I'm still challenged to consider openness and to really say, Brenda, you weren't as open as you thought you were. So I want to know what the next word is that we need to hang our hat on. And I'm asking for all of us, what do we need to hear this week? And the answer is tenderness. I'm a terrible cook. All right, I won't say I'm terrible. I'm learning to be a cook. Learning being the operative word. For my 14 years of marriage, I never cooked. My ex thought that I cooked terribly, and he felt that he was far better at it, so that's the way that worked out. But in my new life, first of all, if I didn't cook, I wasn't going to eat. And second of all, I'm with somebody who actually enjoys my attempts at providing food. So I, along this learning curve of learning how to cook, have served up some really unpalatable meals. And just last night, I had put this pork roast in the oven, but then I got called into a meeting, and the pork roast had been in the oven for much longer than it needed to be, and I watched across the table as Sweet Mark, who's the most tender man you could ever know, went, and that sucker wasn't budging. The word is tenderness, and the opposite is not budging, which goes along with the openness thing. When something is not tender, you have to work really hard at it. Some of you are stuck in relationships that are not tender, and you are working really hard at it, and it's not going anywhere. You deserve flow and ease and tenderness. Tenderness is soft and supple. It will move. It's not hard. You know, there is a mantra in life, work hard. And yeah, I'm all about working hard and being diligent, taking care of my responsibilities, but there is no shame in choosing the path of least resistance, or going where there is obvious ease and flow. Doing a job where your gifts shine instead of, oh my God, if you asked me to come up with a spreadsheet and numbers, it would take me all day what it would take someone who's gifted at that 2 minutes to do. Being tender with yourself means looking for opportunities to be good to yourself and to not find the honor in a hard life, but to choose. You know, some of us look at our finances and we say, I gotta work really hard to keep up this lifestyle. When maybe looking at your lifestyle and saying, maybe if I got rid of this, and this, I wouldn't have to work so hard. And maybe I could actually enjoy my life a little more. There's a lot to this word tenderness, but I will think of my pork roast and how hard it was. And I will try to do the opposite of that in all areas of my life. Isn't there a song, try a little tenderness? Let's do that for the next 2 weeks. Talk to you soon.